John, I wanted to invite you because I loved your story. Do you mind just kind of sharing a little bit to our listeners about your journey?
At university, I studied nanotechnology research and marketing psychology. I didn't realize when I was learning about behavioral psychology that I was eventually actually gonna use it for good instead of,
Mm.
because marketing psychology is just about understanding the drivers of human behavior and
Mm.
really trying to, convince people to buy things more or
Sure.
less,
Yeah.
you know. But I took some time away from that and I became a Marine engineer, spent 6 years in the Navy.
Wow.
Got tired of doing that because the military owns you, and I'm
Mm.
married to a wonderful woman from Australia, and it wasn't much
Oh,
fun
yeah.
for her to have her husband gone all the time.
Mm.
So we did the exact opposite. We packed up our lives and hopped on a plane for Mexico, um,
What?
thinking we're going to go maybe for like 6 months or something. And we ended up going for 3 years and traveling around the world to about 45 countries on 5 continents. And so
What?
um, it was quite this globe-trotting adventure. But along the way, so when we were living in South Africa, this is almost 10 years ago now. I was actually attacked by four men and almost beaten to death.
Oh,
And it's well, actually, I've been through a lot of the work, so it seems like I talk about it in a very lighthearted fashion now. Of
yeah.
course, it was very, very difficult to go through, so I wouldn't want to diminish it. But um, at that time, I was really poorly equipped to deal with. I mean, I don't know that anyone is well equipped to deal with trauma,
Sure.
but I felt particularly poorly equipped to deal with it,
Yeah.
and so I didn't know how to sort of cope and navigate that experience. And so I turned to food. Food
Mm.
was, many people after going through trauma will turn to drugs or to alcohol, but for some reason, for me, it was food. I think it was
Sure.
cheap and it was accessible, and
Yeah.
um, without really having the tools to navigate all the difficult emotions that come up, and maybe all the feelings that we think don't belong there, but they're there anyways, and so on. So not really knowing how to deal with that, like food became my outlet and my crutch.
Mm.
And then I peaked at about 330 pounds,
Mm.
which is I'm 6'1", so I'm a pretty big guy, anyways. But that
Mm.
was quite a bit of weight to pack onto my frame,
Mm.
and I just remember one day saying to my wife, like, I'm just tired of being angry. Like, I'm just tired
Yeah.
of like carrying all the, because and I have this philosophy, and I think it's, I don't know if it's validated in scientific literature, but I'm inclined to think that some of what we see in terms of physical body fat that people carry around, body weight, excess body weight that we carry around, it has a very real connection to emotional baggage and trauma and struggles that we carry with us as well.
Mm.
Um, it's facilitated by our modern 21st century lifestyle as well, but
Sure.
there's a real connection there. And so
Yeah.
it was, and really to sort of tie up how do you lose 100 pounds, well, it took quite a while and a
Yeah.
lot of ups and downs along the way. But if I go back to October 2017, I remember a coach, he asked me a question. He said, "Hey, John," he said, "if we made a list of all the things you love and value, how far down that list do I have to go before I see your name?"
Oh.
And that question hit me like a ton of bricks, um, because my first answer was, I'm not on that list.
Oh.
And yeah, I know, and I think about that now, and I go like, that's where I was at,
Yeah.
where it hadn't occurred to me that I was allowed to be on the list, even on the list of things I love and value, let alone near the top.
Mm.
And so that started this almost like this journey back to finding myself and really becoming true to who I am,
Mm.
and to giving, the value of like working with a coach. Like, he gave me permission to struggle. He gave me permission to just grapple with, I say, grapple with my demons in the light.
Mm.
um, you know, one of the things I struggle a lot with is I'm pretty well educated, and
Mm.
I would say to myself, like, how could I be this well educated? And actually, I was coaching other people. I was successfully coaching people when I was over 300 pounds, but I couldn't seem to help myself. And it was
Mm.
this: how do I bridge this gap between what I know and how I treat other people and how I treat myself? And so I really
Mm.
had to rebuild that relationship with myself. And it's still a work in progress. But I look at where I am now versus where I was 4 or 5 years ago, and what a huge shift.
Mm.
And maybe I'll just say this: I'm really grateful for all of the struggles that I've had, for all the demons that I wrestle with,
Sure.
even to this day. I think sometimes we want to treat it like it's a bad thing, but I'm like, it lends such insight into the very real human struggle that people face
Yeah.
when they're struggling with their relationship with food, their relationship with themselves, relationship with their body. It's like you can read a book about this stuff, but there's no substitute for just living it, day in and day out.